YouTube, it's your boy Jerry Mouse with another chapter from the Power of Awareness. Today is a very interesting chapter. It is about free will, and well, this is one of the hardest concepts to grasp. At least it was for me in my understanding of Neville's teachings about the law of assumption and manifesting in general. Because I was raised, like most people, to believe that you have to do things in order to get results in the world. Now, you do things in order to get results, but the reason why you do what you do has nothing to do with the things that you're doing, but rather because of the person you are being. You can't do anything unless you are being something. So in other words, there is no free will to act. There's only a free will to choose who you are. There's no free will to do anything. There's only the free will to choose who you are being. Now, we'll get into this chapter, and we'll break it down towards the end of it. But what you need to understand right now as you're listening to this, the only reason why you're listening to this video is because of who you are being. You are trying to figure out how to manifest that home, or how to manifest that woman, or how to manifest that man, or how to manifest a new diagnosis, or whatever. And so because of who you are being, you are doing this action of watching this video. It's a hard one for your logical and rational mind to pick up, but we've talked about that in previous chapters. But again, when we dive into this, I really want you to consider, who is it that I am being? Am I already the person that I want to be? And only you would be able to know, because you have the choice. You get to choose, who am I being right here, right now? Because that's all there is. There is never any moment other than right now. So sit back, relax, pay attention from the state of consciousness that you already are the person that you want to be, and enjoy the reading. The Power of Awareness by Neville Goddard, Chapter 21, Free Will. The question is often asked, what should be done between the assumption of the wish fulfilled and its realization? Nothing. It is a delusion that other than assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you can do anything to aid the realization of your desire. You think you can do something, you want to do something, but actually you can do nothing. The illusion of free will to do is but ignorance of the law of assumption, upon which all action is based. Everything happens automatically. All that befalls you, all that is done by you, happens. Your assumptions, conscious or unconscious, direct all thought and action to their fulfillment. To understand the law of assumption, to be convinced of its truth, means getting rid of all the illusions about free will to act. Free will actually means freedom to select any idea you desire. By assuming the idea already to be a fact, it is converted into reality. Beyond that, free will ends, and everything happens in harmony with the concept assumed. I can of my own self do nothing, because I seek not my own will, but the will of the Father that had sent me. John 5:30. In this quotation, the Father obviously refers to God. In an earlier chapter, God is defined as I am. Since creation is finished, the Father is never in a position of saying, I will be. In other words, everything exists and the infinite I am consciousness can speak only in present tense. Not my will, but thine be done. I will be is a confession that I am not. The Father's will is always I am. Until you realize that you are the Father, there is only one I am, and your infinite self is that I am, your will is always I will be. In the law of assumption, your consciousness of being is the Father's will. The mere wish without the consciousness is the my will. This great quotation, so little understood, is a perfect statement of the law of assumption. It is impossible to do anything. You must be in order to do. If you had a different concept of yourself, everything would be different. You are what you are, so everything is as it is. The events which you observe are determined by the concept you have of yourself. If you change your concept of yourself, the events ahead of you in time are altered, but thus altered, they form again a deterministic sequence starting from the moment of this changed concept. You are a being with powers of intervention, which enable you, by a change of consciousness, to alter the course of observed events. In fact, to change your future. Deny the evidence of your senses and assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Inasmuch as your assumption is creative and forms an atmosphere, your assumption, if it be a noble one, increases your assurance and helps you to reach a higher level of being. If, on the other hand, your assumption be an unlovely one, it hinders you and makes your downward way swifter. Just as the lovely assumptions create a harmonious atmosphere, so the hard and bitter feelings create a hard and bitter atmosphere. Whatsoever things are pure, just, lovely, and of good report, think on these things. Philippians 21:8. This means to make your assumptions the highest, noblest, happiest concepts. There is no better time to start than now. The present moment is always the most opportune in which to eliminate all unlovely assumptions and to concentrate only on the good. As well as yourself, claim for others their divine inheritance. See only their good and the good in them. Stir the highest in others to confidence and self-assertion by your sincere assumption of their good, and you will be their prophet and their healer. For an inevitable fulfillment awaits all sustained assumptions. You win by assumption what you can never win by force. An assumption is a certain motion of consciousness. This motion, like all motion, exercises an influence on the surrounding substance, causing it to take the shape of, echo, and reflect the assumption. A change of fortune is a new direction and outlook, merely a change in arrangement of the same mind substance, consciousness. If you would change your life, you must begin at the very source with your own basic concept of self. Outer change, becoming part of organizations, political bodies, religious bodies, is not enough. The cause goes deeper. The essential change must take place in yourself, in your own concept of self. You must assume that you are what you want to be and continue therein, for the reality of your assumption has its being in complete independence of objective fact and will clothe itself in flesh if you persist in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. When you know that assumptions, if persisted in, harden into fact, then events which seem to be the uninitiated mere accidents will be understood by you to be the logical and inevitable effects of your assumption. The important thing to bear in mind is that you have infinite free will in choosing your assumptions, but no power to determine conditions and events. You can create nothing, but your assumption determines what portion of creation you will experience. That was The Power of Awareness by Neville Goddard, Chapter 21, Free Will. Effort, frustration, doubt, worry, poverty, sickness, all these things are a result of I'll call poor concept of self. You've assumed certain things about you, that this is the way life unfolds for me. And so your assumptions can only be aware of that portion of creation. So if you have an assumption that things fall apart, as soon as things are going good, that things fall apart, that's what you're going to get in this world. And most people will be like, why does this keep happening to me? And Neville's argument is, it's not happening to you, it's actually happening through you based on your assumption. Because we don't create anything. We like to think that we are. We like to think that we're doing things. We like to think that we're acting, but in fact, we're actually playing our part based on our concept of self. And so the world is going to do what the world is going to do, but based on our concept of self determines how we react to how the world is showing up. Our free will ends at choosing who we are. And as soon as you choose who you are, you act differently. Here's an example. Have you ever had a conversation inside your head with somebody that you're fighting with, and it just like, this person just is this way and blah, 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 and I don't really want to see them. And sure enough, when you run into that person, y'all end up getting into some argument or fight. And you're just like, man, see, there they go. They're doing that thing. Well, I'm here to tell you that the reason why that thing is happening is because of that imaginal act that you just had. That this person is cantankerous. That this person's hard to work with. That this person sucks. Now, hear me out. I'm not condoning people's bad behavior. I'm not saying that anybody's justified in treating you badly or this, any other. What I am saying, though, is once you change your concept of self and that inner conversation, you choose something different, you choose how the world sees you different, that person will either change or leave your life, only to be replaced with a better fit, a more harmonious fit. Everybody is in harmony with what you are holding onto as true about you. So you have no free will to act. You have a free will to choose who you are being. I'm not talking about other people's free will. Everybody has their own assumptions about what is going on in their life, about themselves, an assumption about their concept of self that has hardened into fact. Okay? But creation being finished, all they are able to experience is that assumption that has hardened into fact. And once they change that assumption, things change. Now, here's the thing. You, who's learning this work, you'll also learn that because you are waking up your consciousness, you can actually lift people out of their states of consciousness. Again, rearranging your mind rearranges the mind of God. Okay? So there's no trick to this. It's just an understanding that you already are the person you want to be. It's your refusal to accept it that makes it not so. You see what you see in God's creation because of what you are doing in consciousness within. Whatever you are imagining, whatever the imaginative version of you is doing, is what you're going to get in this world because it echoes what is going on within. So it takes a little bit of time for the outside world to catch up with that state of consciousness, which is why we need to persist and continuously choose that state of consciousness until it hardens into fact. And you will know that it hardens into fact by the true knowing of what's going on within you. And we'll talk about more of this in the next chapter when we talk about persistence and how to solidify that assumption. But until then, what I want you to do after watching this video is to choose the state of consciousness that you want. I'm talking about right now, as soon as this video ends. Choose the state of consciousness that you want and sit for 5 to 10 minutes. Don't go on to another video. Don't go, get on TikTok or YouTube Shorts or anything like that. Just choose to be the person that you want to be and sit in that feeling, sit in that knowing, sit in that experience that you already are this person. It will be a little difficult if you haven't done this before, but it's fine. It's totally normal. You just keep doing it over and over again, knowing that you already are this person. All right, that's it. That's all. You guys are wonderful. Peace and hair grease.